We're back. We're so back. Good morning, guys, gals, MBs, and YouTube catters. First of all, apologies for not having made a Yugioh video, let alone any YouTube video, for the past few weeks now. I know we've missed a lot. We missed a lot of releases, missed a lot of cards announced, I missed a lot of weeks of updating with my White Forest list, my White Forest deck. Unfortunately, I have been very extremely badly sick, and I'm not the kind of person that if I have like even an inkling, a possibility, a chance of being sick, to go out in like public and go play Yu-Gi-Oh, cough in people's faces and get other people sick. I would absolutely hate that. So I missed playing for a little bit, but I'm feeling a lot better now, and I was actually got to go play Yu-Gi-Oh last weekend for my locals, just in time for the official release of Suda Supreme Darkness, and with it a lot of very good White Forest and Azamina cards for the archetype. I made this deck like very strong in my opinion, and luckily enough, coming back, I managed to go undefeated with this exact list. Got the 5-0. My matchups were, my first round was a dinosaur Ryuge deck, the new like triple element deck. Then we played a labyrinth, Paleozoic, just good stuff, trap deck, Malice Fiendsmith, Ryzeal Fiendsmith, or sorry, Malice Fiendsmith. Then it was the Chimera Illusion Azamina deck. And then last round was Ryzeal Fiendsmith. So a lot of different archetypes we got to play against. The meta overall for Yu-Gi-Oh is really in a fun spot right now, or the format overall is in a really fun spot right now. And I think White Force is now like pretty decently strong, especially now that we've got some more consistency. We no longer have to use the toy box engine. I know there's some lists that people are still trying to fit in the toy boxes. I'm not personally a fan of those. I think it makes the deck a little bit clunkier, but I like where this list is at currently right now. I will preface this video, this is not the final version of this deck. We're going to be testing a lot different cards, a lot more options to play. Spoiler alert for the extra deck, I was unable to actually get my hands on a Saint Azamina, so I didn't use the Saint Azamina Moa Regina fusions for my extra deck, but honestly I didn't really miss them too much. We were fine just having the extra material to make into links, but if you do happen to have those cards and you've gotten to play test with those cards, let me know down in the comments below how those cards worked out for you. I'm curious of how the Saint Azamina Moa Regina into like summoning back multiple Azamina cards actually goes, how those lines actually work. And I'm curious of how strong it felt or how good it felt to y'all. Let's just get into the card by card of this deck of what I played. I'm still going to be working on the ratios of like what I like and what I enjoy and what feels good. This is again not the final product. This is just what I had available to me. But let's just get into it then. Starting off, we are only on 2 Stellar now. This has honestly become the worst normal summon by far. I would definitely even see going down to 1 Stellar if you have 3 Azamina Elzettes. Right now I'm currently only on the 2, so once I get my 3rd Azamina Elzette, I plan on cutting my 2nd Stellar down to 1. Since this card is searchable now, this card is able to be specialed easier now with a few different cards coming up. And we honestly don't want to use our normal summon on this because it always has the same problem of if it gets impermed, ashed, effect veilered, anything, we are just screwed. Even if it can pull the Sylvie out of the deck. Then we have our triple Elzette, best extender by far, best girl. I really love these cards. And then we are on the triple Sylvie. Sylvie now has become the best normal summon because of how many consistency spells and traps there are in the deck. With the Rhoda, with the new quick play Syphil Spoils White Forest card, And then a lot of their traps are extremely good now. We'll discuss those a little bit later. But Sylvie, by far, best normal summon. Even if we don't get the search off of it, all of our 2s are able to special summon pretty much now, with Elzette of the White Forest, and a couple of other cards to like help special summon a Stellar out of the hand or get into the graveyard to special summon later. And with the Azamina Elzette being able to special summon itself, or if not another White Forest card. All the 2s aren't the problem, it's the getting the 4s, the tuners, into play. That being said, we are on the 1 Rusia, and then finally 2 Azamina, or 2 Elzette Azamina of the White Forest. So this card is absolutely insane, absolutely busted. It was funny playing my matches against people who haven't gotten to see this card yet in action, coming to watch my matches or stand around watching my lines and stuff with this card. And as I'm reading the effect, I put this deck together, or I put this list together about 5-10 minutes before the tournament actually started, when I was able to get this trade. Just actually like sitting down and reading the card to my opponent and all the things that it does. Like it was actually insane. People were laughing. I was like, there's no way this card does that. This card just has like custom effect, basically. Everything you could possibly want, does everything you possibly want, absolutely bridges the deck together, makes this deck insane. I definitely think you should be playing 3 of these. I want to move up to 3 of these as soon as I humanly can. So a good thing about this card, not only is it both an Azamina and White Forest name, so it's searchable by both your Yugioh from your Azamina line or your Resilia from your White Forest line, but it's an illusion card, so it helps with fusion summoning your Azamina monsters because some of them require illusions. You can reveal this card in your hand and then special summon 1 White Forest or Azamina monster from your hand. But then also during the main phase, this card becomes a polymerization because you can use this card's effect to fusion summon 1 Azamina fusion monster from your extra deck using cards from your hand or field. And if that wasn't enough, then the final effect on this card, but if this card is sent to the graveyard as synchro material, then you get to add a Sinful Spoils card from your deck to your hand. So it searches out your Sinful Spoils Deception. You could search out a Wanted if you need if you still need the Diabellstar line. But a lot of the times, at least in my matches, Diabellstar was getting hit with Imperm Effect Veiler, just to keep me off of having the Sinful Spoils Deception. And then I would just go Elzette Azamina, okay, Synchro 6, add a White Forest card, add a Deception of Sinful Spoils, and then we're off to the races. Like this deck plays through so many hand traps now. It's absolutely crazy, the consistency that this deck has. It's a lot of fun. So then for our White Forest Spells and Traps lineup, we are on the 1 Scourge of the White Forest, the 1 Woes of the White Forest. New change, we are actually on 2 Tails, the 2 Rhodas. I moved up to 2 Tails rather than like a third Stellar, just because we want more spells and traps in the deck. The consistency of having 2 Rhodas is fine. If I open one, it's great. It's a card to send as material. If I ever need to search it, it's fine. But we never really had too many problems with searching it, or we never had too many problems where I needed to search it to continue my combos. But I think it's a lot better consistency wise, getting more spells and traps rather than more monsters in this deck, like more White Forest names in this deck. Especially since we can just always send the spells and traps that are extra for White Forest effects, and then get them back at a different time, get them back later. Then new changes, we are on 1 Sinful Spoils of the White Forest. This is a brand new card from Suda. It is a quick play. It has both the Sinful Spoils and the White Forest name. It has a little bit of a drawback though. You have to control a Fiend, Illusion, or Spellcaster monster, but then you get to activate 1 of 2 modular effects. Because it's a White Forest card as well, still has the same effect as the White Forest Spells and Traps. You send it with a monster effect, it resets itself. But this card can special summon a fiend, illusion, or spellcaster monster from your hand. So this is how you can get a stellar out of your hand if it happens to get stuck there off of normal summoning a different monster. But this card is also a polymerization, because this card also allows you to fusion and summon one fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field. So we're only running one of this. I think this card becomes a lot better if you're using the Azamina fusions more. It didn't really come up too much. I think one time I used it as to get an stellar out of my hand after I used Azamina Elzette to special summon itself earlier in the turn. It being a Sinful Spoils card that you can search with Azamina Elzette is really strong. Letting you extend further with getting in a stellar is pretty strong. It resetting itself, it can be pitched, is always great. That's why I'm still just running the one of, is because worst comes to worst, if this card is not needed or not wanted, it can be pitched for an effect and then just reset itself, and it's just it's pure value. And then the last card in our little toolbox here is Azamina Aphis. This card is absolutely nuts. This card is absolutely insane. I could definitely see, like, in some situations taking out a Sinful Spoils to run 2 of this card if need be, but it is an Azamina card, so it's searchable by your or Yugioh, but it's also always treated as a White Forest card. So this is searchable by your Sylvie, searchable by your Resilia, and a normal trap. It also has the same effects as a White Forest card, even though it's not called a White Forest card. Where if this card is pitched to activate a monster effect, it sets itself, so it's still recurring value. But this card lets you target cards on the field up to the number of fusion monsters and synchro monsters in your field and graveyard that are fiend, illusion, or spellcaster. So basically all of your White Forest monsters in the graveyard, or all of your White Forest synchros in the graveyard before you shuffle them back, your Azamina monsters in the graveyard or on the field. Say you need to use an Ilia Sevilla, tribute it to cast Nominate Negate, it still counts this. It still counts it in the graveyard to this. You haven't shuffled back your Yugioh somehow. Like, this is a compulse, like ×6, I think was the record number that we got up to. This card is absolutely insane. Like, even if you're not bouncing like an absurd number like 6 cards, bouncing 3-4 cards with this just absolutely shuts down people's turns. Was able to like bounce both 4s for Ryzeal after they special summoned from the hand, just keep them off of Exeasing. Against the Labyrinth matchup, they let me go first, and I was able to just they set 4 and pass, and I just was able to on their instep flip this card over and bounce all 4 trap cards back to their hand and be like, okay, GG's, go next game. This card is absolutely insane, absolutely nuts, and I love that this deck is now basically a like toolbox style deck where all 3 of these spells and traps here are searchable, and really just cater, like, you just decide on what kind of interaction you want to have, like what kind of deck you're playing against and what kind of deck you want to hedge your interaction against, is which one you want to search going first or second. Next, for the Sinful Spoils or a Diabellstar, Azamina engine, whatever you want to call it, we are on 2 Diabellstar. I had been playing 3. I tried testing at 3 for a couple of weeks. Did not like it a lot of times. I would open with too many monsters' hands, not enough spells to send for the White Forest card. And then we are on 3 Wanted still. I think this is honestly the best setup. You always want more cards that search than targets, because if you draw your targets, then these cards are dead. The Wanteds can always just like banish themselves and draw you more cards as well. And there's spells and traps to pitch as well for the White Forest effects. We are on 2 Deception. I tried running 3 Deception. I still have my 3rd Deception. I didn't like it as well too much, because I've noticed some lists are going up to 44, 45 cards. If you're going that high, I could definitely see one of these being added, a 3rd copy being added just for consistency's sake. But at 42, 40, I think 2 is plenty. And then the one hollowed Azamina, we did cut the quick play spell just to get down to 42 cards for consistency. The quick play spell has always been okay. If I opened the quick play spell, it was super good, but there was never a time that I felt like I wanted to search it. If you're still on the quick play spell, or I think this quick play spell would be better if you're running more of the fusion focus version of this deck. But if you're still on the quick play spell, let me know how it's been for you with the new Suda cards. I'm curious if I should be testing that as well. Let me know down in the comments. For non-engine, we'll go through this very fast. I think my hand traps and stuff are catered towards this kind of meta right now pretty well. We're of course on 3 Ash, 3 Effect Veiler, 3 Nib, and then 3 Imperm. There's not really too much to say about this. I could see the Nibs being Fuelos if I could afford 3 Fueloses still, but Nib is still like pretty decent. For non-engine spells and traps, we have the 2 Triple Tactics Thrust, 1 Talents. Really like this package here. I like these numbers here. It makes sideboarding super easy. Spoilers for the sideboard, like going second or like specific matchups, these just become like 3 Lancia against Malice, or these immediately just become 3 evenly matched if I'm going second, hard going second, or a 3-dimensional barrier. And then finally, we are on the 1 Called by the Grave still. And spoiler alert for the extra deck, we are still on the Angel Statue Azure. I really love this card, and I really love Silhouette Rabbit. I think it's a great link too, and a great negate, inherent summon negate. Again, 42 cards. I'm trying to keep it as close to 42 or as close to 40 as possible. I don't really want to go up to 43, 44, 45 cards, but we will see when the new White Forest support comes out in Alliance Insight, I think. As far as the extra deck, we are on the 1 Zapper Shrimp still. Speaking of Alliance Insight, there's a brand new Formula Synchron with the White Forest name coming out. I believe it's Alliance Insight, if not after it. That looks absolutely insane. That'll probably replace Zapper Shrimp. But for now, we are still on the Zapper Shrimp Fried Rice. We have 1 Coral Dragon still. When we get more cards coming out, this will probably be the next cut for the White Forest line. I mean, it's just a level 6 synchro tuner, just a way to get into like our level 10s a lot easier, and it lets us draw a card in case we need to draw more outs or more gas. For other 6s, we are also of course on the White Forest names. If you are watching this video, I assume you know what these cards do by now. And then a big change for level 10s. We are still on the 1 Chaos Angel. Chaos Angel with the Azamina cards being more consistent now. We can just make Light and Dark Chaos Angel super easily now. Whole board's unaffected by monster effects and can't be destroyed by battle. So many games that I've won just by having this and just like making blockers and just picking apart their entire boards over 1 turn. But we are also on for another big heavy hitter at level 10. We are on the big Chungus Sword Soul's Supreme Sovereign Cheng Ying. I actually had difficulty making this card. You can make it with an Azamina or and one of your level 4 tuners, or with level 6 synchro tuner like a Coral Dragon or something, plus 2 2s. But a lot of the times I was just making Chaos Angel and that was good enough. But I think you could still probably run this card. Like, this is still a good game ending card, especially if you're playing Malice and they have like multiple cards banished. We are on the 1 Baguska. This is probably going to become Star Striker Typhon, or whatever the name is, Typhon. Now that there's no more Tempai, we don't really need Baguska too much. But I mean, he's still like a decent floodgate monster to use in case we get shut down. Now the problem is just getting the 2 4s out, since we don't really have the toy boxes anymore. So this definitely should probably become a Typhon. I just don't have that card on me on hand. And then we're on all 3 Azamina names. These are all amazing, especially now we can go into Yugioh a lot more if we know our opponent's not on Nib or not on or doesn't have Nib in hand. This searches, this extends us, this grabs us our Azamina Elzette, this grabs us a Sinful Spoils, Deception, grabs us everything we want. Sevilla is still a good negate. And Solar Stitchum is great for grind games. For our Link monsters, we are on 1 Artemis. I've been on this because it literally is just a Link one that helps me make SP Little Knight a lot easier and get the effect of SP Little Knight when I'm just completely shut out of turns and there's not out of my turn, out of combos. There's nothing I can do. I just like take one of my White Forest names, go Artemis, and then link to SP Little Knight, just so I can still get that banish off and have a 1600 beater or something and get rid of something pesky. And then of course we're on the Silhat Rabbit and the IP Masquerena still. I will go briefly through my side deck. If you want to know more about like how I sided into matchups and stuff, let me know down in the comments below and I'll make it a separate video along with some test hands. I just don't want this video to be too long. So if you are interested in that, let me know down in the comments below. I'd be happy to help. Or if there's anything I missed, let me know down and I'll cover that in the next video. But we are on Triple Lancia. This is like a mainstay in this format now because of Malice. You have to run Triple Lancia. I'm not a huge fan of it, but it is what it is. I'm also on 2 Droll. This could also easily be Mulcharmies if I had Mulcharmies. This could be, if I had a playset of Mulcharmies, I'd put those in the main deck, and these would just be 2 Nibs. But for the time being, these are just 2 Drolls. Shuts out a lot of decks. We are on Triple Evenly Matched as Mine of Salt earlier. Great for going second, board breaking. And Double Lightning Storm. Again, this is just my board breakers going second when I'm hard going second. And a lot of the times I would just go like 3 evenly and 1 Lightning Storm or 1 Duster if they were like a back row deck, just to have like search options and like keep in thrusts or something just so I can search it. And then we are on Triple Dimensional Barrier. This card needs to be banned. This I hate this card. I hate that I have to run cards like this. Then we are on the 1 Duster. This would probably become Artifact Sanctum. But for since there's not really too many back row decks in the game right now. And then finally, I 1 Skill Drain just because I needed to fill a slot, and Skill Drain is like the best one of you can probably run right now that many people can fight through, since there's not really too much, again, back row hate with like not many people are running Cosmics and stuff right now. Looking out for that. So that is the list. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you enjoyed this video. Like I said, next video we will cover more sideboarding options if you would like, as well as doing some test hands with this deck. I'm excited to bring this deck back to locals this week and see how I do, and I'll keep y'all updated in the like YouTube discussion, like channel thing, posts as well. So if you do enjoy this video, be sure to like, share, subscribe, all that good YouTube stuff. I appreciate y'all watching, appreciate y'all's support, despite me being sick. And other than that, guys, gals, and bees, thank you for watching, and good night.